مظهر العجائب تجد عون لك في النوائب كل هم وغم سينجلي بعظمتك يا الله وبنبوتك يا محمد رسول الله وبولایتك يا علي يا علي يا علي شاہ مردان شیر یزدان قوت پروردگار لا فتح الا علی لا صیف الا ذوالفقار یا علی مشکل کشا کارے تو حل مشکلات یا جیلانی شین اللہ المدد باذن اللہ. اما بعد بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. آج ہم ایصال ثواب کے لیے ہمارے مامو حضرت جو ہم اچھے ماما بول کر پکارتے تھے آپ کے ایصال ثواب کی نیت سے ہم یہاں جمع ہوئے ہیں. اس کی اصل جو قرآن شریف اور احادیث میں ہے اور ہمارے سلف صالحین اور خلف الآخرین تا قیامت انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ جو ہمارے بزرگوں کی سنت ہے اس کو ہم برقرار رکھتے ہیں اور رکھیں گے. اور اس کو ینگ جنریشنز کے لیے انگلش میں جو ہے انگلش اور اردو دونوں ملا کر چند جو ہے کمپریہنسو اور سمری انداز میں ایصال صاحب کے بارے میں چند 5-10 منٹس بولوں گا اور پھر آخری میں ہمارے ننیال کی ہسٹری اور ہمارے ماموں کے بارے میں چند باتیں بولوں گا. تو انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ قرآن مجید میں اللہ تعالیٰ فرماتے ہیں اور قرآن کی آیت کا ترجمہ یہ ہے کہ man can have nothing but what he earns. یعنی کہ انسان جو اعمال کرتا ہے وہ اس کے اعمال اسی کے لیے ہے, یعنی کہ اس کو دوسروں سے اس کا جو ترجمہ ہے اور اس کا جو مفہوم ہے اس کو جو ہے دونوں طرف استعمال کرتے ہیں. جو لوگ اہل سنت والجماعت کے اندر ان اہل سنت والجماعت donating the reward of whatever amal that we do, whether they be monetary یعنی کہ پیسوں کے سے یا عمل سے یا تعلیم سے یا کسی فزیکل چیز کو یا ادارے کو یا مسجد بنانے کو, things are proven by the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the benefit of the living can benefit the dead. یعنی کہ جو اعمال, those actions that the people who are alive, what they do can also benefit the people who are in the world of barzakh. اس میں حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم in one of the gatherings he said to graze in the gardens of Jannah, and he came in the Masjid al-Nabawi and there were people doing zikr, and they asked him, what are these gardens of Jannah? He said, the halaqat al-dhikr, the circles of zikr. تو ہم اس میں بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں. اور ایک دفعہ حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم, one time he came into the Masjid al-Nabawi and there were two groups. One group was doing dhikr, tasbih, tahleel of Allah Ta'ala, and another group, they were studying with a teacher and he was explaining the rules and the fiqh and Islamic studies. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ask which of these two groups is the better one. They are both good, of course, but which is the better one? He said the one that is learning the deen over the ones who is just doing the dhikr of Allah. So in this mahfil, alhamdulillah, we have both of the gatherings together. We just finished the tilawat of the Quran, and the next phase, which I voluntarily asked my dad to give some time, is to explain why we are doing this. So this combines both of those two groups. So first thing is that our life in this world, we usually think whatever we do and whatever we say, we think that all of these things are temporary, and only when we are in namaz or we are in front of our elders or parents, we become serious, and then we think before we say things. We think before we do things. But during our whole life, Allah Ta'ala is always watching us. So throughout our whole life, we should be aware of the presence of Allah Ta'ala. And then not just in mahfil, but when we are alone, this advice is for myself too. So what I'm trying to say is that our amal, our words, these are not temporary. Every single word that we do, every single joke that we do, all of these actions and these words are written. And our amal are abadi, they are forever. And our reality, our being is یعنی کہ ہمارے جسم کے اندر روح ہے, and when the ruh departs, we become a dead body. So when the ruh is there, we are alive. So what is the reality of the ruh? Allah Ta'ala says that قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. Our ruh is the command of Allah Ta'ala. So when we say something, we are representing the power of Allah Ta'ala. And when we do something, we are the manifestation of Allah Ta'ala's hukum. So that is why our words and our deeds are permanent. They carry on to the next world. And what happens in the next world when on the day of resurrection, our good deeds were turned into good-looking creatures that will be our treasure. And though that treasure, our good deeds, will protect us and take us towards Jannah. And if we have bad deeds and if they are many, then they take the form of ugly creatures. And those ugly creatures will, Allah protect everyone. Those amal will drag us to the hellfire. So it is our responsibility for our own self and for the savior of ourselves that the Quran and Prophet they always encourage us to do good deeds, because these good deeds help us go towards heaven, and these are permanent. The rewards that we get in this world and the hereafter, in the hereafter they are multiplied till eternity, forever. And then if we do bad things, those bad deeds will, if someone goes to hellfire, that punishment of the bad deeds continues for almost eternity. If we are not lucky enough to receive the shafaat of Prophet and awliya kiram. So Isal ثواب, comprehensively speaking, is that in Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, all the four fiqh scholars, the Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki and Hanbali, it's the latter day fuqaha kiram, it's a unanimous agreement. They have come that the deeds of the living can benefit the dead. The du'as of the living can benefit the dead. And also, similarly, the Sufi kiram, they say that even the people who are deceased, their du'as, which is also authenticated by Sahih Ahadith, their du'as, the people in the barzakh, their du'as for us also benefits us. So it's vice versa. And sometimes when the deceased, their spirits, their arwah are so powerful that they can also benefit the living. In one of the hadiths, Sheikh Abdul Haq Muhaddis Zalvi, he quotes this hadith, and Shah Abdul Aziz, and the last Usmani Shaykh al-Islam, he quotes this hadith in which Prophet said, if you are in need and trouble, then seek the help of the people of the grave. Ahlul Qubur said, Madad talab karo. So how is that possible? One way is that when you interacted with them by reading something that is beneficial, that's rewardable, then you transfer that dua, the ثواب of that, and make the dua as the means to so they also return our good, the rewards of our deeds with duas, and if they are spiritually capable, they can help with their own spirit. And to set aside days, like the third day after someone passes away, 10 days after, 40 days after, 6 months after, 1 year after, yearly. So all these dates, these are proven amal of the Prophet ﷺ, Sahaba ikram. And to set aside a day, some people argue against it, saying that you cannot set aside a day. This argument is baseless, because Prophet ﷺ himself used to visit Masjid al-Quba on every Saturday. He used to set aside days to do nafal ibadah. So this is basis to object to setting aside days. और उसके बाद these dates are also recorded in Khazinatul Riwayat. It's a hadith collection, and every year during the anniversary of the Shuhada of Uhud, Prophet ﷺ used to go to Jannatul Baqi, and this hadith comes in almost 5 times in Bukhari Sharif, especially in Kitab al-Maghazi, in the section of Uhud. And it's a long hadith, and this hadith gives us evidences for so many of the practices that are practiced in Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, especially the Mashayikh and Salasil Buzurganadin. Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, his grave used to be, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to go to the Shuhada Ohad, the Maidan there, and yearly they used to fix the graves that used to be in the open. And Bibi Fatima Zahra Salamullahi Alayha, she used to be personally fix the grave of her uncle Hazrat Hamza radiallahu ta'ala. From that action we get the practice of the Urs Sharif that we do, that Prophet yearly used to do, and then to put sandal on and to fix the grave and to make it into a preservable shape that's our sunnat. And it's also a sunnat because to preserve the grave even for regular people because of the natural elements. Uske saath ye hai ke to put on flowers on the grave and chadar binana, these are also proven by ahadith, and without going into detail. And then also the Fatiha that we do, especially the khatam that we're going to do at the end, because since most of the time we don't have enough time, or we don't take time out enough to actually study or to present what we know from our own family and traditional practices of Ahl-Sunnah Jamaat. I'll just quote two hadiths inshallah about Surah Fatiha being, not just Fatiha, but the Tariqa Fatiha that we do is proven by the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the traditional way is that in Fatawa Alamgiri it says Fatiha Murawwaja, यानी कि एक बार सूरह फातिहा पढ़ना, 3 बार इखलास और 3 बार दुरूद शरीफ पढ़ना. And then in अशगाल का ثواب, ईसाल ثواب मरहूमीन को बख्शने की फजीलत में कोई शक नहीं है. Fatawa Alamgiri. There is no doubt in this practice, the way that we do. And then there's also another Sahih Tariqa Fatiha as Maulana Muhammad Ali Khan Qadeeri Khan Mujaddidi, ये अब्दुल्ला शाह साहब के खलीफा हैं, उनकी किताब है जिसमें हवाला है हज़रत मुल्ला अली क़ारी रहमतुल्लाहि ताला अलैहि की फतावा. उसमें एक हदीस शरीफ है जिसमें हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के साहबजादे, the son of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet's son, Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was, when he passed away, when he was almost 2 years old. And on the third day after he passed away, Hazrat Abu Zar al-Ghifari, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sultan al-Fuqara, he came and he brought in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a bowl which had a camel's milk. Khan Mujaddidi, ये अब्दुल्ला शाह साहब के खलीफा हैं, उनकी किताब है जिसमें हवाला है हज़रत मुल्ला अली क़ारी रहमतुल्लाहि ताला अलैहि की फतावा. उसमें एक हदीस शरीफ है जिसमें हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के साहबजादे, the son of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet's son, Hazrat Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. He was, when he passed away, when he was almost 2 years old. And on the third day after he passed away, Hazrat Abu Zar al-Ghifari, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, Sultan al-Fuqara, he came and he brought in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a bowl which had a camel's milk and jaw ki roti and some dates, khajur, and he set it in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Fatiha that we do with having food in front of us, this is proven from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised his hands and then he read Surah Al-Fatiha one time, and then Surah Al-Ikhlas, and then he read Durood Sharif. And this is the Durood Sharif. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin, anta biha ahlun wa huwa biha ahlun. And then he said, खुदावंद इस तिलावत और खाना खिलाने का सवाब हमारे फर्जंद इब्राहिम की रूह को पहुंचा. And then Huzur sallallahu alaihi, so he said that, oh Allah, so Prophet read tilawat and the food that was in front of him, he made a dua to Allah Ta'ala as the means to transfer this sawab to his son. And then he told Hazrat Abu Zar al-Ghifari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that distribute this food amongst the people. So whoever is amongst there in present, so this proves our Tariqa Fatiha, Isal ثواب, placing the food in front of us, reading Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Ikhlas, and then Durood Sharif, and then making a dua on behalf of everyone, one person, usually the eldest one or the imam. Then he makes the request to transfer this the ثواب to the deceased. So this is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to gather in the إيصال ثواب and to do good deeds. In the generalized conclusion of إيصال ثواب, the ulama say that all of our deeds can be transferred. The ثواب of those deeds can be donated and gifted to the people who have been deceased, and so that our connection is always connected to the people in the world of barzakh, and their connection to help us spiritually become elevated. They make dua for us, and then also help us spiritually. And the biggest help that we have from the hereafter is Prophet ﷺ himself, because in ahadith it says that every Monday and Thursday, and some ahadith says that every single day the whole ummah's deeds are presented in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and then he makes when he sees good deeds, he becomes happy, he becomes glad with us, and then he praises Allah Ta'ala, and then if he sees bad deeds from us, then he makes istighfar for us, and then and by that, meaning he does shafa'at for ourselves every single day, and that through that shafa'at, Allah Ta'ala removes the punishment for us already every single day because of the shafa'at of the Prophet ﷺ, which is recurring every single day, every week. So यहाँ तक ये हुआ कि so these practices alhamdulillah wa shukrullah हमें जो है विरासत में inheritance में मिला है. बचपन से जब हम छोटे रहने से आज तक हमारे ख़ानदानों में जो सादात मशाइखीन का जो ख़ानदान है, इसके अंदर खुसूसी तौर पर ये मशागिल और ये महफिल होते. तो for the younger kids, these actions are proven by the practice going all the way back 1400 years from the Prophet ﷺ's time all the way up to us, and then right now it's up to us to practice this, okay, and then also teach it to our younger generations. It's our responsibility, and these are all proven from the Quran and Sunnah and the practice of our elders, our predecessors. Okay? Number two is, I wanted to briefly talk about my Maamu, Khaja, Khaleelullah, Hussaini, Qadeeri, Nagori. His lineage from his father's side goes all the way up to the senior Khalifa of Khaja, Khajigan, Khaja Khareelullah, Chishti Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. His Khalifa, Hazrat Sufi Habeebullah Nagori Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. He was the most senior Khalifa of Khaja Sahab, and his mazar is in Nagori Sharif, and he had actually received the title of Sultanul Tariqeen from Hazrat Gharib Nawaz, and he is known as Sufi Sahab. So from his descendants, there's a famous Buzurg named Hazrat Khaja Hussain Nagori. One time, after the passing away of Gharib Nawaz, a Hindu king had actually conquered Ajmer, and then Ajmer was depopulated, and the Dargah Sharif of Hazrat Gharib Nawaz was abandoned, and his descendants had to save their lives and go to another place. Which is why Hazrat Khaja Fakhruddin Rahmatullahi Ta'ala, his mazar is not in Ajmer Sharif, it's outside. Also, Khaja Gharib Nawaz had 3 sons and 1 daughter. His daughter's name was Hazrat Bibi Hafiza Jamal Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. She was the daughter-in-law of Hazrat Sufi Sahab. She was married to Ghaliban Hazrat Sheikh Abdul Aziz Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. And then from his brother's descendants, which is my Nana's ascendant, there's a Buzurg whose name is Hazrat Hussain Nagori Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. He is the one, historically, if you look into history, he is the one who inhabited the Dargah Sharif back again, in which it was wild animals used to live there. Yani ke sher, lions used to live there. And then when he came, he put towards Hazrat Hussain Nagori Rahmatullahi Ta'ala, the present Dargah Sharif of Ajmer Sharif. You see the gumbad which is made, that was made during his time, Hazrat Hussain Nagori. And one of his cousin brothers, he was known as Khaja Taj Nagori or Khaja Khanun Taj Nagori. he is one of the ascendants of my Nana Hazrat. And then their family, when Muhammad bin Tughlaq ordered everyone from Delhi to move to the south, his family migrated to Medak Sharif. And Medak, during 500 years ago or 600 years before, was a major center. Before Jami Nizamiya was built, Medak, and there's another madrasa right next door, is Tekmal. In these two places, there are huge madaris, and here lots of Sufiya Kiram, lots of Ulama Kiram, and the bureaucrats in the Qutub Shahi time and the Nizam time, they used to graduate from here. And Medak was actually renamed Gulshanabad because the Nizam, the first Nizam, when he came with Aurangzeb, when they did the siege to Golconda Fort, they ran out of food stock. So the first Nizam, Khamuruddin Khan, he was a young person. He was given the task to collect food for the army, and he actually went to Medak Sharif, and there he met our ancestors who were the landlords there, and he bought the food from them. And he liked the greenery and the scene so much that he renamed the place as Gulshanabad Medak. And one of the famous graduates from Tekmal and Medak Madaris is Hazrat Syed Sardar Beg Sahab Rahmatullahi Ta'ala from the Chishti Nizami Silsila. He was actually a graduate from the college that was there in Tekmal and Medak. And also his Nanhiyali, which is my Nani, she is from the family of Huzur Ghaus-e Azam, from a line that goes, these ancestors had actually arrived 500 years during the time when we know that in Hyderabad, outskirts of Hyderabad, there's a Dargah Sharif which is called Jahangir Pira. These were two brothers. The oldest brother and the youngest brother, they were fighting jihad against the oppressive Hindu Raja, and both of these brothers became Shaheed, the older brother and the younger brother. And these two persons, their Dargah Sharif is called Jahangir Pira, it's double P. So in the middle, there's a younger a brother who was in the middle of these two. When that Buzurg is, his descendants came all the way down, and one of their descendants is our Hubair Bhai, हमारे Sajjad Bhai. आपका जो खानदान है वो बुजुर्ग की औलाद में से है. And then my Nani's खानदान came from Baghdad Sharif to Allahabad, and then their descendants, after the Mughals became weak, they came to Deccan South. And then the Buzurg that is in Tekmal Sharif, Hazrat Sayyid Hussaini Rahmatullahi Ta'ala, who's from Ghaus-e Azam's family, his Dada, his younger brother, his Dada's younger brother, from his descendants is my Nani. So we have all these rich history, alhamdulillah, and it's been preserved by Qazi Sayyid Azam Ali Sufi Sahab, who wrote a book called Muqaddas Tekmal. You can read all of this history in there. In there, they have also the history of my Nana's ancestor, Hazrat Sayyid Hussaini Rahmatullah Alayhi. His sister was married to Hazrat Sayyid Ghulam Jilani Badshah Rahmatullahi Ta'ala Alayhi. His father his Maamu was Sayyid Hussaini, and then when both of their parents passed away, the kifalat of Hazrat Jilani Badshah Rahmatullahi Ta'ala was done by Hazrat Sayyid Hussaini Rahmatullahi Ta'ala. He became a student, his bhanje the student, murid and khalifa. From him, the silsila, the name of the Hussaini title was added on because the family used to be Chishti, silsila used to be their main order. Then after Hussaini, the family had the Qadeeri silsila in addition. And then later on, so long story short, their descendants, my grandfather, Nana Hazrat, he was an alim and a chemistry professor, and his younger brother. When I remember these two persons, it brings so many memories back to me. In our previous generations, there were a handful of people that were experts in the deen and in the dunya. They had combined, they had two wings. A wing qualifications in dunya and then qualifications in the dini muamalat. So my my nana and his younger brother, both of them were murid and also the murid of Hazrat Baharul Ulum, RahmatullahAlayhima. And my grandfather, my dada, was also a student of Hazrat Muzzammil Peer, RahmatullahAlayhima. And then his first son, Hazrat Shah Abdul Rahim Sahab, he gave Khilafat to my nana and my younger nana. And my younger nana was Hafiz of Quran, and he started doing his when he was 40 years old. And alhamdulillah, he used to lead Taraweeh at the hukum of Hazrat Naib Rasulullah, Khaja Rahmatullaha'Alayhi, at the Dargah Sharif in Nagori Sharif. So, Hazrat, when I was in Rahmatullah Sharif, since we don't have time, let's come back to my Maamu. Because we never think of them that way. For example, in our family, like I said, we have the very accomplished people in the dunya and also in the deen. And to combine both of those makes those people extraordinary. One time I was in a walima and someone introduced my dad and uncle, and they were talking. And then after they left, I was on the other side and I was just listening. And the person said, "Who are these people?" He said, "Ye ilmi gharane ke loग." And that made me become like a little, small chooza. Because all my dada, my nana, my Puppa Hazrat, my Bade Taya Hazrat, my this Taya, so many of my cousins, alhamdulillah, they have very big degrees in the dunyavi side, and also along with that dini side. They never left deen or dunya. And that is the best example and the best way to practice Islam and tasawwuf. Because if you combine these two, fiqh and tasawwuf, then you become a perfect insan, human being. So what I'm saying is that every single day when we interact with each other, don't think this is my grandfather, he's just old, he doesn't know anything. No. And then don't think your parents, oh, these guys are outdated, whatever they say, they always just bug me. Don't think like that. Think that these people are they practice their whole life the Quranic Sunnah and the prophetic Sunnah. And these people are the living exemplars of and the inheritors of the Prophet ﷺ. So always think of your elders and take whatever good that you can, derive from them. And when you see anything bad in them, think that they are your mirrors. The bad thing that you see in someone might be right in you, in yourself. So think of the good things in other people and take inspiration, and leave your bad deeds, so that the easiest way to improve yourself is one thing my dad taught me. One of his Hindu friends said that to become good by reading books and all these things, it has an effect, but it doesn't have a complete effect. He said that if you want to become good and become like people who are accomplished and qualified, you have to be with them. Sohbat. When you are in Sohbat, I studied under Maulana for 15 years. In the beginning, when I was with him, I was so scared of him that I wouldn't even say anything. And then when I sit with him and he was 60, 70 years old, I would not understand anything because I was not in tune to it. And then my dad used to say, if you sit with him for 2 hours and you learn just one word, that's enough for you.
Wow.
And rafta, time after time, it became more clear, and Maulana would talk very less, and he would act by he would show by amal. He never told me to wear a turban, never told me to keep a beard, never did this. But I learned that and I practiced it just by being in his sohbah. So practice. So in conclusion, that we ourselves, when we learn from our elders, we copy them, then you have to realize, last thing that I want to say is that after Maulana passed away in 2012, in 2013 I went to my father-in-law's place, Sadora Sharif. And over there, Dargah Sharif ke bahar masjid hai, and we used to go for namaz every single day. And then since I had the practice of tying a turban, amama pehenkar namaz li jate the, so ek dafa jab main wapas aa raha tha, and then all of a sudden I remembered Dili Taluk tha Maulana Sahib. All of a sudden I remembered when I was going to namaz and coming back after Asr namaz, I felt that I was not, I had so much, the effects of the sohbat of Maulana was so much that when I was walking back to the Dargah Sharif, I felt that I was not myself. I felt like I was Maulana. Because he never emphasized or told me, instructed me to do the sunnat, but he, by his practice, impressed upon my inner self that I was doing what Maulana used to do, and he was following what? The sunnat of the Prophet. So you have to become the embodiment of the sunnah yourself. Not just, you shouldn't be at the level of the copycat. Copy paste पे नहीं रहना. आगे जाके आप खुद वो पूरी फाइल बनाना. जो आपको देखे तो आपको किताब, आप सुन्नत की किताब पढ़े चाहिए. तो आपका कौल, आपका अमल, you're saying, you're doing, इंशाअल्लाह ताला अल्लाह ताला की मदद से और सोहबत से हम जो है हमारे बुजुर्गों का जो तरीका रहा 14 साल से ता क़यामत हमारे अंदर भी रहे और ता क़यामत हमारी औलाद में रहे. वमा तौफीक़ इल्ला बिल्लाह अलैहि तवक्कलतु व इलैहि उनीब व आखिरु दअवाना अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन. Sorry, most apologies. Let's come back to my Maamu. When I was little, I've always seen my Maamu. He had a little problem that his feet were not working, so he had an obstacle. But throughout his life, he never ever made that into an obstacle. He never saw that as an obstacle. Whenever I saw him, he was the most active person, and the one who I never saw him complain about anything. Never saw him, never heard him talk negative about anyone. Whenever we met him, he was always cracking jokes. Always, when I was little, my nana used to train him in removing jinns and like a bad shayateen from people. So when I was a little kid, most probably Muhammad Peer's age, my nana was training my Maamu, and I remember that the lady who had the shaitan on her, when he was reading Quranic ayats, she was reading those same ayats back to him. And then he started to take Huzur Maulai Kainat's name and then Ghaus-e Azam's name, and then she started to say the shajra of the Sabriya silsila. And that time it was so impressive and so impressive for me that I still remember the names of the shajara. I just heard it first, and I still remember the names of the Shia silsila, Hazrat Sabir Peer Rahmatullahi, Hazrat Shamsuddin Turk Panipati, and going back to Hazrat Abdul Quddus Gangohi Rahmatullahi. So that was the first time, and then eventually he was also a certified amil of Dua Hizbul Bahar, and Alhamdulillah, he was also a amil that was authorized by the police. Police officers in the area of Hyderabad and other states, if they had a abandoned house or some place where physically nothing could be done there because there were some extraordinary supernatural things going on there, my Maamu used to be taken by the police and he used to clean out that place. And there are so many stories from there, but to make it short is that the conclusions and the stories and the inspiration that I draw from him is that to practice our family practices from the Dadiyal, Nanhiyali, and even Susaral if you have those intellectual families, and then also becoming an example in the deen and also in the dunya, and making that into a daily practice. And alhamdulillah, when you have muwakkilin, you have to read almost hundreds of thousands of wazaif, and you have to do that over days and fasting. And he did not see any of these as obstacles. And alhamdulillah, he practiced. He was very qualified in the dunyavi side too, and in the dini side. And he was also an inspiration in akhlaq too, meaning that he was always happy. He would make others always happy, and make jokes. And also that once his father passed away, he did not have the ability that for walking. He didn't have that, but he himself carried the tradition that his father and his chacha had carried on. And alhamdulillah, 4 or 5 years ago, when my brother went there, he received khilafat from my Maamu, from the Hussaini Qadeeri silsila. So we have the, alhamdulillah, the opportunity from our family. We have a long tradition. This is also the sunnah to get up for your elders. One Hazrat Sa'ad came, who was leader of the people of Ansar. Prophet